Saraswati is one of the principal goddesses in Hinduism, revered as the goddess of knowledge, education, learning, arts, speech, poetry, music, purification, language, and culture. Together with the goddesses Lakshmi and Parvati, she forms the Trinity, known as the Tridevi. Saraswati is a pan-Indian deity venerated not only in Hinduism but also in Jainism and Buddhism. She is one of the prominent goddesses in the Vedic tradition who retains her significance in later Hinduism. In the Vedas, her characteristics and attributes are closely connected with the Saraswati river, making her one of the earliest examples of a river goddess in Indian tradition. As a deity associated with a river, Saraswati is revered for her dual abilities to purify and to nurture fertility. In later Vedic literature, particularly the Brahmanas, Saraswati is increasingly identified with the Vedic goddess of speech, Vak, and eventually the two merge into the singular goddess known in later tradition. Over time, her connection to the river diminishes, while her association with speech, poetry, music, and culture becomes more prominent. In classical and medieval Hinduism, Saraswati is primarily recognized as the goddess of learning, arts, and poetic inspiration, and as the inventor of the Sanskrit language. She is linked to the creator god Brahma, either as his consort or creation. In this role, she represents his creative power, Shakti. She becomes linked with the dimension of reality characterized by clarity and intellectual order. Within the goddess-oriented Shaktism tradition, Saraswati is a key figure and venerated as the creative aspect of the supreme goddess. She is also significant in certain Vaishnava traditions where she serves as one of Vishnu's consorts and assists him in his divine functions. Despite her associations with these male deities, Saraswati also stands apart as an independent goddess in the pantheon worshipped without a consort. She is portrayed as a serene woman with a radiant white complexion, dressed in white attire, representing the quality of sattva, goodness. She has four arms, each holding a symbolic object: a book, a rosary, a water pot, and a musical instrument known as the veena. Beside her is her mount, either a hamsa, white goose or swan, or a peacock. Hindu temples dedicated to Saraswati can be found worldwide, with one of the earliest known shrines being the Sharada Pit in Kashmir. Saraswati continues to be widely worshipped across India, particularly on her designated festival day, Basant Panchami, when students honor her as the patron goddess of knowledge and education. Traditionally, the day is marked by helping young children learn how to write the letters of the alphabet. The word Saraswati appears both as a reference to a river and as a significant deity in the Rig Veda. Her importance grows in the later Vedas composed after the Rig Veda, as well as in the later Brahmana texts, and the word evolves in its meaning form, waters that purify, 2. That which purifies, 2. Vak or speech that purifies, 2. Knowledge that purifies, and ultimately into a spiritual concept of a goddess that embodies knowledge, arts, music, melody, muse, language, rhetoric, eloquence, creative work, and anything whose flow purifies the essence and self of a person. In Hinduism, Saraswati has retained her significance as an important goddess from the Vedic age up to the present day. She is praised in the Vedas as a water goddess of purification, while in the Dharma Shastras, Saraswati is invoked to remind the reader to meditate on virtue and on the meaning, artha, of one's actions, karma. Saraswati first appears in the Rig Veda, the most ancient source of the Vedic religion. Saraswati holds significant religious and symbolic value in the Rig Veda as a deified entity embodying attributes of abundance and power. As part of the Apas, water deities, Saraswati is associated with wealth, abundance, health, purity, and healing. In Book 10 of the Rig Veda, Saraswati is celebrated as a deity of healing and purifying water. In the Atharva Veda, her role as a healer and giver of life is also emphasized. In various sources, including the Yajurveda, she is described as having healed Indra after he drank too much soma. Saraswati also governs Dhi as per Rig Veda. Dhi is the inspired thought, specially that of the rishis. It is intuition or intelligence, specially that associated with poetry and religion. Saraswati is seen as a deity that can grant dhi if prayed to. Since speech requires inspired thought, she is also inextricably linked with speech and with the goddess of speech, Vak. In Book 10 of the Rig Veda, she is declared to be the possessor of knowledge. In later source, like the Yajurveda, Saraswati is directly identified with Vak, becoming a deity called Saraswati Vak. In the Brahmanas, Saraswati Vak's role expands, becoming clearly identified with knowledge, which is what is communicated through speech, and as such, she is the mother of the Vedas, as well as the Vedas themselves. The Shatapatha Brahmana states that as all waters meet in the ocean, so all sciences, Vidya, unite Ekayanam in Vak. The Shatapatha Brahmana also presents Vak as a secondary creator deity, having been the first deity created by the creator god Prajapati. She is the very instrument by which he created the world, flowing forth from him like a continuous stream of water according to the scripture. This is the basis for the Puranic stories about the relationship between Brahma, identified with Prajapati, and Saraswati, identified with Vak. In Book 2 of Taittiriya Brahmana, Saraswati is called the mother of eloquent speech and melodious music. In the Hindu epic Mahabharata, Saraswati appears above all as a sacred river, along which pilgrimages are made. She is also represented as goddess of speech and knowledge. Her banks are filled with priests and sages, rishis, who practice asceticism, and sacrifices on her banks. There are numerous depictions of people making pilgrimages to the river to perform sacrifices and bathe in her waters, and she often appears in her human form to great sages like Vasishtha. The Mahabharata also commonly presents her as a goddess of knowledge in her own right and sees Vak as merely a feature of hers. She is called the mother of the Vedas in the Shanti Parva book of the epic. Her beauty is also widely commented on by numerous passages. The Mahabharata also describes her as the daughter of the creator god Brahma. Later, she is described as the celestial creative symphony who appeared when Brahma created the universe. In the epic Ramayana, when the Rakshasa brothers Ravana, Vibhishana, and Kumbhakarna performed a penance in order to propitiate Brahma, the creator deity offered each a boon. The Devas, gods, pleaded with Brahma to not grant Kumbhakarna his boon. Brahma called upon his consort Saraswati and instructed her to utter that which the Devas desired. When the Rakshasa Kumbhakarna spoke to invoke his boon, she entered his mouth, causing him to say, "To sleep for innumerable years, O Lord of Lords, this is my desire." She then left his form, causing him to reflect upon his misfortune. Saraswati remains an important figure in the later medieval Puranic literature, where she appears in various myths and stories. Many Puranas relate the myth of her creation by the creator god Brahma and then describe how she became his consort. Sources which describe this myth include Markandeya Purana, Matsya Purana, which contains the most extensive account, Vayu Purana, and Brahmanda Purana. Other Puranas give her slightly different roles and sees her as the consort of other gods such as Vishnu. In various Puranas, rites for her worship are given, and she is mainly worshipped for her command over speech, knowledge, and music. Puranas like the Matsya also contains iconographic description of Saraswati, which provide the basis for her classic four-armed form, holding a book representing the Vedas, mala, rosary, veena, musical instrument, and a water pot while being mounted on a white swan, Hamsa.